Hello, our challenge community. Oh my goodness, you guys. I am so excited to be back with you today. I see some of you, our VIPs, are here with us in Zoom. Make sure to turn your cameras on. If you're tuning in from YouTube right now, get inside the chat. If you can both hear me and see me, those are both important. If you can hear me and see me, put I hear ya, I see ya, and I'm ready to rock inside the chat box. If you're Facebook, if you're YouTube, hello from all over the world. We actually had 100,000 of you tune in just this past Saturday from over 158 different countries. So there's a lot of people tuning in right now. And I just am so excited to welcome you guys back here. We are back with a surprise event. You were not expecting to see me today, but hello, here I am inside of your computer screen. If you guys remember, hopefully this past weekend, Tony Robbins and Sage Robbins hosted a beautiful celebration for the 5-year anniversary of the incredible documentary, the amazing film, I Am Not Your Guru. Like I said, over 100,000 of you from 158 different countries getting a front row seat to experience the heart, the magic, the love, the pure, what's the word for it? Just amazingness of Date with Destiny, of I Am Not Your Guru, what it is all about. And every single one of you got to experience that. So I am so excited to be back with you guys in your screens right now. If you're here and you didn't go to the event this past weekend, don't worry. That's why we're here today. But if you were there, I want to do a quick check-in with you as we start up today. Check in with me in the comment section here. What did you think of the event? You guys not only trained with Tony Robbins, somebody that's been doing this for 4.5 decades, around the world, over 80 million people from 100 different nations. Joelle says the event was powerful. I completely agree. You also got a chance to hear from Sage Robbins, which is a rarity. She's not always doing events, co-hosting them with Tony, which was beautiful. But you also got to hear from the documentarian himself, Emmy award-winning filmmaker, which was Joe Berlinger. So it was a really beautiful event. Some great nuggets. You heard from Tony why he decided to host a documentary in the first place, because that was not an easy decision for them. It was a very vulnerable thing to do. You heard from Joe Berlinger, who was the filmmaker. He shared his experience. Tony and Sage together took some questions from all of you from around the world. We had live shares from audience members. We got to find out what happened to people that had live interventions with Tony during Date with Destiny, during the filming of that event, like Dawn, Tammy, Lance. I mean, we had people come back. It was absolutely unbelievable. So if you missed it, don't worry. That's why we're here today. If you were there, you know how incredible it was. But what was so beautiful about it is it was so timely. It helps us look at the world in a different way, right? Like Jody's saying right now, she says it was inspiring in a different way, which is beautiful. Yes. And Pernille says, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm so happy to hear it is still possible. Listen, if you missed it, don't worry. Today is about going one layer deeper. We had so many of you on live and we got such insane feedback back that Tony was like, I really want to make sure, here's the thing about Tony. We have this thing, and I want you to write this in the chat box. We call it TST. If you don't know what that stands for, it stands for Tony Standard Time. That means he is always going to go until, I see some of you giggling, he's always going to go until the outcome is met. So we were like, hey, come on for a couple hours. We're going to celebrate, the anniversary of I Am Not Your Guru. And like over 3 hours later, we were still in our seats experiencing the magic of Date with Destiny. And if you're wondering, Date with Destiny, I Am Not Your Guru, Date with Destiny is the event that inspired the film I Am Not Your Guru. So if you did not go back and watch the replay of the 3-hour event, come here. I get it. Okay. That's why we're going to have this experience today. What we did with Tony was actually we broke down what happened this past Saturday, which was unbelievably magical. It was seriously so special. If you missed it, don't worry. That's why we're here. We broke it down and we kind of pulled out some of the most impactful, exciting moments, those riveting experiences. Those riveting experiences, and we plucked them out and we're actually going to play them for you guys live today. So it's kind of like the Cliff Notes version or breaking down a film. If you guys play, if you've ever heard like recapping like a football game or something, when you study film, that's kind of what we want to do today. We want to review some of the most special moments, like a highlight reel. So today we're going to show you clips, conversations, moments that we feel are worth riveting, like cliff notes. Okay. So if you missed it, we're going to go through 4 standout moments together today as a team. And I want you guys to get into the chat box today, turn your videos on, take notes. If you're in the live streams, I've got all of your comments all over everything. So I can see you on Zoom, I can see you on Facebook, I can see you on YouTube, and I'll be communicating with you guys in real time. And plus, we have a special guest that's going to be joining us today. If you saw your text messages, read your emails, we have somebody that is going to be joining us live today that also had such an incredible experience with Date with Destiny that it completely transformed this person's marriage, like completely. He had one marriage, has a new marriage now that is everything he ever wanted, transformed him in his life as a human being and as a business owner. And we're actually going to bring this person on today who's a dear, dear friend of Tony's to tell his story. So we have so much happening, and today's going to be quick. It's going to be under an hour. So let's get down to it. Are you ready? I asked you this question this weekend too, so you guys know what I mean. When I ask you, are you ready? I want you to put I'm ready inside the chat box. We have film today. We're going to go through clips. We're going to be sharing with you guys behind the scenes peeks of Date with Destiny, conversations with Tony, with Sage, Joe Berlinger, our guests. It's really the highlight moments of our celebration event from this past weekend. Here's what I want you to know. If at any point throughout this experience, you have a question that pops up, perhaps it's about the film, okay? That was 5 years ago. If it's about the film, if it's about an intervention, if it's about Date with Destiny, which is the event that inspired the film, if it's about anything at all, I want you to use the hashtag Q4KK, Q4KK, hashtag Q4KK, type up your questions, throw it inside the chat box, and then I'm gonna be answering those questions live throughout the day today, and maybe potentially we'll have our special guest answer some questions as well, okay? So take notes. You're going to want to take notes. You're really going to want to experience this. So get a little energy inside your bodies. And you guys, today is really about having fun. These are short clips. So we're going to really get into it today and see some behind the scenes peek. Okay. So it sounds like you're ready. So let's dive in. Clip number 1. I'm so excited about this clip because if there was a theme for it, you could write this down on your sheet if you guys have a notebook out, which I hope you do. But I would say the theme for clip number 1 is that problems. Who here has had the problems? Their fair share of problems in the last 2 years, by the way. Please hand up, even if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Problems actually are gifts, okay? We've all had our fair share of problems. The last couple of years have been insane. If you guys turn on the news, well, don't turn on the news because it'll depress you. But life has been a little bit crazy. And a piece of advice that Tony's original mentor gave him, his name was Jim Rohn, is he said, stand guard at the door of your mind. You've got to be so strong mentally because there's a lot of chaos happening out there in the external world, which means that your internal world has to be strong. And so in this clip, you're going to hear Tony talk about what's really happening during this time in our life. And he says that all of us human beings, I don't know where you are in the world, wherever you grew up, whatever you look like, we all have one thing in common, and it's a primary emotion that we might all be experiencing. So in a time of hardship, what you're about to see in this clip is a new take or a new outlook or a new insight on these so-called problems. So if right now in your life, you have a problem in any area, something that you have resistance towards, something that like could be better, whether it's career or relationship or a situation that you just can't seem to get around. And I want you to put it in the chat box if you have anything like that going on, okay? This is a crazy time at all. It's time to take your power back. And this clip right now is going to demonstrate for you the reason why to do it and potentially a little bit of how to do it. So let's learn from Tony Robbins right now. About 2 minutes in, there's going to be something that you're going to want to write down. So have your pen ready, be taking notes. And here's Tony Robbins. Check this out.
The reason we're doing this thing together is just to plant seeds with you because we figured this is the time that people need a little bit of, input. Because the external input is nothing but fear and upset and, people losing their jobs and inflation and deflation. And, oh, my God, it's like you turn on the news and you would think the whole universe was over. But we're going through winter. And if you're a student of history, which I am, these are 20-year cycles. We're about halfway through it. Probably got another 7-8 years of this winter. Now, winter doesn't mean it's dark all the time. It just means fear is the dominant emotion. You can study 1,000 years of Roman history, which I've done, and you see these 20, 25-year cycles. And so if you think about people, imagine you were born in 1910. And you're coming of age. Most of us come of age around 19, 20, 21, right? Come of age meaning the first part of your life, people are teaching you. And then all of a sudden you enter a new stage of life where you're going to test things out. You're going to decide what to believe. You're going to decide how you're going to live, right? You're going to test it out from your 20s to your 40s. Well, when that generation was born in 1910 came of age, it was 1929. Think about that. People are jumping out of buildings. They grew up seeing the roaring 20s and thinking they're going to have a car, this new device. They're going to have these parties. It's going to be incredible. And suddenly no one has food to eat. Imagine what that did to an entire generation of people. But you know what? It made them stronger. And I guess they wouldn't be stronger by the time they turned 29. It was 1939. It was World War II, and none of us were around then. But the people that were can tell you it looked like we were going to lose. Hitler was rolling over countries. It wasn't literally till these people literally got into their 40s that they had a life where it was a new season. It was a springtime. Most people think of America's good times as the late 40s after World War II, the early 50s, up until probably 1963 when Kennedy died. And then a new pattern went for 20 years. Think how different the 50s were versus, say, the 60s and 70s. Versus the 80s and 90s to 2000. So history has its pieces, and here's what you need to know. Good times make weak people because we don't have to grow. Weak people make bad times. Bad times make strong people. That's what's happening right now. And strong people make great times. So what always follows winter is springtime. I mean, if you're God when you work it out that way, what follows the night is the day. But our job is to make the season happen now. Our job is to say, what if you could make winter your best season? What if in the middle of all the shutdowns and all this fear, what if you could actually grow so much that the external world didn't hold you back at all, that you made this the best time in your life? For us, it actually is.
All right. If you missed that, we've got to do some recap here. First up, Tony's perspective on problems is really transformational. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. Whatever you're going through in your life, if you can see it through the lens that he's sharing here today, that's what's most important. And that's really about what it's like to have a date with your own destiny. It's to be able to see what you have coming up in the future, what's present right now, and to be the creator of your life. So I'm seeing some comments across, I got Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, all of it. What was the quote that he said? I typed it up while he was speaking. I'm going to share it right now in case you missed it. When he was like, good times, weak people, strong times. If you're like, what happened there? What was it? I'm going to share it right now. Grab a pen. This is what Tony said. He said, good times make weak people. If everything's great, you might not have a reason to move forward, to challenge your skill sets. Okay. So good times make weak people. Weak people make bad times. What does that mean? If you're weak in your emotional body, in your mental fitness, you will take any time, good or bad, and the way that you view it, right? Life happening to you, if you view it like that, you will actually create bad times for yourself, create friction in your relationships, create trouble in your life, create trouble in your businesses. Is anyone seeing this right now? And it's not that we're bad people, but if we're weak, not weak as a mean thing to say to somebody, weak as in if we're being weak up here and the most important muscle in our body, if we're not connected or aligned from our head to our heart to our spirit, if there's something off there, we can create bad times. So good times make weak people make bad times. The third one is bad times create strong people. Bad times create strong people. If you believe, if you choose that life is supporting you, happening for you, okay? This is the lesson of Date with Destiny. This entire event, 6 days and nights, it's actually having that become ingrained into your body, into your nervous system. So that's an automatic muscle for you. So you don't have to keep navigating through the up and down, right? And then finally, strong people create great times. And that's what we are in this family here today. And I'm curious to know, I'm looking at all the chats here, how many of you was this past weekend, Saturday, perhaps your first experience training alongside Tony? Or maybe it was, okay, so I see some of you nodding your head. That's beautiful. Maybe you saw the documentary on Netflix, or you were walking through the house while somebody else was watching it, and then you saw them watching it, and then you found your way to the documentary. It's really important to know that there's a key message from Tony, okay? It's a science at this point. 80 million people from around the world one key message is that life is happening for you, not to you. And it's sometimes difficult to make that muscle, that mind, feel like that all the time when life can be seemingly really chaotic from the outside world. So when I talk to people, hundreds, thousands of people that have been to Date with Destiny, that even were at the Date with Destiny in which this film was filmed at, they all say one of the most transformative messages they got was that life happens for you, not to you. It's really universal. It's learning how to make that one shift. Tony calls it a 2 millimeter shift. And it's a skill that you'll have with you forever, to face anything that you have in your life, whatever happens, right? After nighttime, there's daytime. After winter, you have spring. So everything is happening for you guys if you're able to really truly see it that way. So we thought that that was a great clip. Tony wanted you to see that again if you were there. And yeah, I love this. I love your comments here. Love the documentary. Watch it 10 times or more. Love Date with Destiny. Been to it 5 times. Date with Destiny 5 times. I'm telling you, that's why people keep coming back for more. It's 6 days and nights, 5 times. That person means business. Okay. So clip number 2. If you're ready, I want all several thousands of you to put "I'm ready" in the chat box right now. And also give me a little love on the like button. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, tap that like button on this video. It's super helpful. Send a little message out to everyone and tell them that we are live. Okay. If you are ready, put "I'm ready" in the chat box. We are going to go to clip number 2. And we've got 4 clips today. So today's a short day, but they're really, really powerful. So make sure you're looking at it with that lens. Okay. Taking notes. This next clip is a personal favorite of mine. The reason why it's a favorite of mine is that having the chance to have Tony and Sage together at an event in this capacity is a bit of a rarity. You know, Tony's doing majority of the events, and when Sage pops in, it's like one of the most powerful moments you'll ever experience. And I know a lot of you that have been in our world for a while, you know, at the events when she finally comes on stage or speaks, everyone's like, what just happened? People want more and more and more of it. So to have the chance to have Sage be at an event the entire time and contribute in this capacity was a very, very powerful thing. And it's also something that happens a lot at Date with Destiny, especially the relationship day. Those of you that are going to Date with Destiny, by the way, I really want to honor and celebrate you. We have 38 days until that event. So I am so excited. I feel like I'm already packing. It's going to be so unbelievably fun. But Sage is there a lot at that event as well. But this next clip, the reason it's a favorite of mine is that you're actually going to hear from both Tony and Sage and what it's really like to open up at Date with Destiny. You know, our guests that come virtually from all around the world simultaneously in a virtual environment and experience this deep transformation, they're opening up in a capacity that sometimes they never have before. So some people get curious and they have this question like, well, how are Tony and Sage able to create such an impact or such a shift with every single person at Date with Destiny? Like, how does it work for, you know, that person? And how does it support or transform that person? And at that age and this age and that breakthrough and that been through and they did this and they're in this state and everyone is so different. And I want to honor that. You know, you might not relate to me at all, and that's okay because we're completely different people. But the question is, how can an experience, 6 days, create such a shift? And people ask Tony and Sage this all the time. They're like, well, is it magic? Is it magic? It's not magic, although it can feel pretty magical. But this next clip is about the secret sauce. It's about what allows for such a powerful transformation. It's about the community elements. It's about opening up and experiencing transformation, even if you're blind to it for a second. It's about how transformation occurs. And so if you guys are going in 38 days, I want you to really, really, really pay attention to this. And you're going to really recognize, how can I prepare myself to have a deeper transformation? So you're going to hear from Tony and Sage on really the openness of what Date with Destiny is. So check this out.
I think what's so beautiful is just to, you know, as Joe mentioned, it's so rare in life that we have an opportunity to really self-reflect and go inward. And if you look at what's happening external in the world right now, it's, you know, there's a lot of blame. There's a lot of external discord. And, you know, I think what's beautiful. So gorgeous is to watch the transformation that happens within individuals, and to watch them utilize those tools, to watch them see themselves, to watch them untangle, the stories that they've had that have caused pain and distress and have blocked them up from moving forward, and to watch that freedom, to watch that openness, to watch that love, just to see your love right now. I think the individual and the collective willingness and the collective consciousness that's formed at that event is gorgeous. It's this man's love flowing out, and everybody that raises their hand to go, it's just, we all fall in love. It's the most unique experience. And I think what's so beautiful, and for those of you who have watched I'm Not Your Guru, there's interventions of people that have the courage to raise their hand and to share their inner fears or their inner stories. And a lot of times, if somebody raises their hand, it's like, gosh, I'm not going to relate to them. But, what's so beautiful is what's universal is the human experience. And so, when somebody raises their hand and they're sharing their story, there's a me too, me too. Gosh, I relate to that. No matter what they look like, no matter what age, where they're from, there's the relatability, because we're all on this human path together. And I think that week of life, and having the privilege to walk this path with this man, and to see just the freedom, the inner freedom, no matter what's happening on the external world, to watch people open up and to be reminded who they really are again and again and again, and to watch the celebration, to watch the love, and to experience that is, I never get tired of it. I never get tired of it.
It's my favorite experience. We have so many beautiful, yes, thank you. Have so many beautiful experiences in all the events that we do, but Date with Destiny is my favorite. We only do it once a year. And it's just because there's this community that's formed. We do that at all our events, but it's really special. You'll see people, for example, I remember a woman that was, about 375 pounds, and a lot of young men, young boys, I would call them, would never pay attention to her. But within a few hours, we become so connected. And like Joe talks, people who are not sure about things all of a sudden start to drop in because they feel it's more than safe. It's beautiful. It's we all respect each other. We all love on each other. It just really grows into that. But you'll see these men, young boys that would normally not, they wouldn't look at this woman. They're standing on their chair cheering for her to get her breakthrough. It moves me so much to see that. And what Joe said is so true. Just a little tip for all of you. It's like, I'm a product of my environment as well, and the decisions I've made. Yeah. We're a product of both. Yeah. If you don't make decisions consciously, then the environment just controls you. And most of us didn't have great environments because we have amateur parents. They did their best, but no one taught them how to be a professional parent, And my mother, a huge part of who I am is because of my mom. She's a loving, amazing soul. But, when she used alcohol, unfortunately, and prescription drugs, she became a different being. And she was kind of violent and intense. But what I always tell people is, like, if my mom had been the mother I wanted, I wouldn't be the man I'm proud to be. I grew from that. I had to figure out how to protect my younger brother and sister when she was in those states. I don't want you to give the wrong impression. An incredible soul, but alcohol and drugs are a bad mix, and they change a personality. And so I had to learn to manage her emotions and her states. I had to become a practical psychologist. Yes. And it started me on a journey that I had no idea I was going with. I mean, that's why I really believe, I don't know how many of you can think of an experience in your life, maybe 5, 10, even 15 years ago, something happened that was horrible. I mean, you would never want to go through it again no matter what, and you sure as heck wouldn't want your children or your friends or anybody you care about to go through it. But maybe 5 years pass, or 10, and you look back on that time that was so horrible and you go, thank you, God, or thank you, universe. It's just like, I can see the perfection in it now. I can see that it made me stronger. I can see it made me care more. I can see it made me develop skills that allow me to really do things today. And if you can find that, if you can start to develop that belief, especially in the middle of times like this when there's so much fear out there, way more fear than is deserved by the situation. Yeah. But if you can find it and you develop that belief that life is happening for me, not to me. It might look like it's happening to me, but it's my job to find the empowering benefit. And if you dig for it, how many can relate to this in some way? Those, I can see your hands out there. How many can see a time when you thought it was horrible, but it turned out it served, right? And I hear people all the time, everybody wants things to always be perfect, but problems are what make us grow if we grow. Like disappointment destroys some people, but other people, they turn into drive.
Welcome back. I loved that clip so much. And I see some of you clapping and applauding, those of you that I can see your cameras. And if you felt the same level of love for that clip, get inside the chat box if you guys are on YouTube or Facebook. But now you guys understand how people like Dawn, who escaped a cult, or Tammy and Lance. And if you watched I'm Not Your Guru, you know what I'm talking about. If not, these were live interventions that happened in the film at Date with Destiny 5 years ago. It's about the openness and the energy at the event. It's not just, you know, Tony and Sage, it's that collective community. It's the peers. It's people that across the board want change, and not change like things aren't good, but you know you have another level, more love, more play, more zest, more spunk, more contribution. Maybe right now the season of life is about family and creating connection or having deeper relationships, or it is about your career. It's about becoming more of you so you can give more of you to the world. There is a quote that I wanted to share from Tony, and I see you guys sending in the Q for K case. That's great. And if a reminder, if you're just jumping on, if at any point you have a question about Date with Destiny or this film, literally any question across the board, I don't want you to hold back. Just use hashtag Q for KK, type up your question. I'll actually answer them live right now. And this is just off the gut, you guys, not prepped because you're putting them in the chats live right now. But here's a quote I want to share with you. Tony says, "We have a responsibility and a privilege to give back in this life by becoming more." That's how you give back to your family, to your kiddos, to your communities, to your businesses, is that you as a human being become more. You as a human being work through these challenges or these problems in your life that we can all kind of wink at, because we know that in the end, they are gifts. I saw somebody send in a Q for KK. I'm going to answer that one right now. And if you have any more, go ahead and send them through. I have like 6 chat boxes open, so I'm trying to collect them all as they come in. But one of the questions that came in about this last clip was, the openness is really great, and we're all so different. How do you actually create transformation if we are all so different? Like, how will I know that it would work for me? And I get that because I asked the same question before I actually went to my first date with Destiny. I'm like, this is great, but you know, I felt like things were pretty good in my life. And I didn't really understand what could be the next level. So I was wondering, you know, what could this be like for me in my life? And maybe it's a different scenario for you. But I want to give you an answer. And this is something I actually learned straight from Tony. So if you just pretend I am much taller and have a deeper voice and look a little bit more like Tony, then we'll pretend it's Tony sharing the answer. But he said something one time, and I wrote it down in my journal. And I have, I don't know, probably 50 journals filled to the brim from lessons from Tony. And this one sticks out as maybe top 3. He says, and this is going to sound direct. If you're okay with me being direct, say, okay. And someone just said, when is Date with Destiny coming to London? In 38 days. Virtual is all over the world. You can tune in from wherever. Okay. Write this down. It's direct. He says, you are not that unique. And I was like, what? He says, you're not that unique. We get so addicted to our situation in life, and we think, oh, well, and we start to question everything because we think we're so unique with our set of problems or challenges or what we've been through. And he's like, yeah, I've been doing this for 4.5 decades. Okay, context, you guys, I was not even born yet. Okay, 4.5 decades. He's worked with over 80 million people. He says, I would be a fool not to recognize. Are you writing this down? I would be a fool not to recognize that human beings run patterns. You get addicted. You start to memorize a set of behaviors, thought, feeling, action, the way that you communicate with your partners or your kiddos after a long day of virtual learning and virtual gymnastics practice, okay? We start to memorize so much of our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and actions that it becomes who we are. It doesn't matter the specific thing you've been through, they're all patterns. And he says that there is pretty much a scientific formula to start to unwire some of these patterns from your nervous system so that you can create radical change. He's like, that's why I do what I do. He's like, a lot of people, they read their books and they do their events and they go to stuff and they dip a toe in and they're like, I went for it for my transformation. And then it didn't what? Tell me the answer. It didn't what? It didn't work. I went back to who I was before. Why? Because you didn't break that pattern. The pattern is what you want to break. That's why it's 6 days and nights, Date with Destiny. And that's why this is a science for Tony. It's not something that's just fun. It's really, really based on transformation from the inside. So it's not just information in your head. It integrates into your body. right? Because that's what we all want as human beings, to create true transformation in a way that we look in the mirror and we feel damn good about ourselves. If you feel that, put yes in the chat box. If you're following me, put yes in the chat box. Okay, awesome. And if you guys missed it, I'm seeing a lot of questions. When is Date with Destiny coming to the UK? When is the virtual event? I'm going to knock all those out in one question. It's 38 days from today. You guys can tune in from anywhere around the world. If you missed the celebration this past Saturday, you're going to want to go to dwdvirtual.com. Okay. Type it in the chat box if you would. dwdvirtual.com. Not going to explain everything because you guys can read it all there, but Tony gave you a celebration package. If you want to go to the event and you were a Date with Destiny and you were a part of the event this past Saturday, you guys can get, it's like 10,000, over 10,000 bucks of value for like over 50% off. So go to Date with Destiny, dwdvirtual.com. If you missed it, go check that out. And I'll give you a little bit more information later. If you have any questions about it, you guys can do #Q4KK. Ask me a question. I'll break down anything you need to know. Okay. Next clip. If you're ready, say I'm ready. I love this clip so much. This next clip is from Joe Berlinger. If you don't know who Joe Berlinger is, he is the award-winning, Emmy award-winning, if you will, documentarian and filmmaker of I Am Not Your Guru. Tony and Sage at the beginning, they were not 100%, they were a little bit hesitant on creating a documentary. And Joe had to work really hard. If you guys go watch the full event, then you're going to see really the story behind that. But he had to work really hard to get this event on the books, get the filming of this event on the books for the documentary. And Joe is a New Yorker, and he's like, you know, honestly, I'm a skeptical New Yorker. And you might be thinking right now, like, wow, this is great, but I'm not naturally an open person. I'm not naturally someone that has events and has all this transformation. I'm not okay with being vulnerable, certainly not in front of strangers, having KK getting me to jump up and down on a Zoom. If you have ever been skeptical about anything in your life, hesitant, resistant, trotting, or if you know somebody, oh my gosh, if you know somebody, put it in the chat box. You're like, that's my partner. That's my cousin, Sarah. That is my sister, whatever it is. They may be a lot like Joe. Joe is skeptical then. But not now. And you're going to hear a little bit why. You're going to see a dialogue between Joe, Tony, and Sage about his experience before the film, his experience with the film at Date with Destiny, experiencing the transformation, and somebody that was working it ended up having his own transformation. So you're going to love this. Kurt Smith says, I am hesitant. This is going to be great for you guys. So listen up, take notes, and check this out.
Your team was pretty skeptical when we started, like your camera crew. It was really interesting to watch them for me. What did you see over the couple of days? The first few days, they were very skeptical, and then you started to feel the shift. What did you see?
Yeah, like my longtime cameraman, Bob Richmond, if I considered myself a skeptical New Yorker, Bob Richmond is like, makes me look like Mr. Positivity. So he and the crew were like, oh, Joe, you sure about this? Oh, Joe. And by the end of it, they were, actually, there are some dailies in our footage where you see the camera drifting down because we had 4 camera people. They're all so entranced that they're like leaning in to watch what you're doing during an intervention, and they had to quickly realize, oh no, I'm shooting. So by the end of it, everyone was in and big fans. Awesome. I just want to say one thing. At this point in my life, I've made probably 18 feature films about Metallica, Paul Simon, wrongful conviction, whatever, hundreds of hours of television. Truly the most impactful experience I've ever had was making I Am Not Your Guru, because it touched me personally and really transformed my life. So I thank you for that opportunity and the chance to, in my own small way, help amplify the incredible work that you and Sage do. Has truly been the honor of my life. So let's do a sequel.
Okay. Love you, Joe. Thank you so much. We love you so much. Give it up for Joe Berlinger, the one and only.
So I love Joe Berlinger truly so much, you guys. And if you agree that we need a sequel, put it in the chat box right now. And we are going to screenshot and clip this out and send it to Tony. In fact, what if we could record a sequel in 38 days? Should we ask Tony? Who here is going to Date with Destiny in 38 days? I vote we record a sequel at Date with Destiny with all of you here. If you're in for that, put I'm in the chat box right now, and I'll try to pitch it to Tony and get that set up. 38 days from today, that's so magical. But I love this. If you can relate to Joe in any way, just put I relate. And what I think is so fun is if you heard in the beginning, he said that even the film crew, like imagine this, you guys. Here's Tony Robbins, who's like 6'97". I mean, this man is so tall and he's so powerful. He's such a force of nature. And if you watch the documentary, you see he's running into the rooms and he's getting on stage and it's just electric. And you can imagine the film crew like filming and watching these transformations and seeing people. I mean, you guys get this massive workbook. We ship it to your house. You get these boxes shipped to your house and it has workbooks in there and these little signs that you can hold up and all these fun virtual things that Tony designs for you. They're going through hundreds of pages. You get these poster boards and you're making these posters and you're doing these interactions with your spouses as partners. There's a relationship day and there's all this magic. If you think of it like a little flame, if Date with Destiny was a candle, the candle's lit. And then like day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, the candle starts sparking and lighting and there's all this magic. And I just laugh thinking about the camera crew, like, what the heck is going on? And then by the end of the event, the camera crew is like getting into peak state and jumping up and down and seeing Joe saying, out of all these things that he's done, an Emmy award-winning film producer, he's like, this changed my life. I mean, for me, you guys, that moment brought me to tears. That makes me feel some type of way. And if you can relate to that, or it brings a smile on your face, or just seeing Tony and Sage and how happy that makes them, it really is something so beautiful. And I think what's great is that if you are a really logical person, there's 3 ways that you kind of interpret information. You can interpret cognitively, or sometimes you need really, really logical info, and it's hard to move with your heart. This is a scenario where it's kind of pulling on your heart a little bit. But for Joe, work, his career brought him in the environment, and that was his bridge. And now he has this explosion of love. If you missed the actual event, he talks about how it healed the relationship with his father. And sometimes you need a little bit of a bridge to walk yourself over. And so what's that bridge for you? What do you need to let yourself say, okay, I'm in. Okay, I'm committing to my next level. Like, one question I will ask you is, are you worth it? If you had an iota of a shift in your relationship. So Tamara here, so beautiful, says, me and my husband are so excited for Date with Destiny, doing it as a team, as a family. And some of you are going to be pissed at Tamara because you're like, my partner, my husband, my wife won't go with me yet. Listen, you do you. And when you have the experience and the transformation, it'll bring them in. You're like a lighthouse. And you're going to hear later from our special guest. I cannot wait for you guys to hear from this person who actually had 2 relationships, had one that, wasn't the relationship he really ideally wanted. And now he's fallen into a relationship that has transformed his life, is so unbelievably beautiful. He's actually a walking example. I'm taking notes all the time of like, I'd love to have a love like that. So if you're somebody here that really wants to create that spark again in your relationship, pretty soon, right after this next clip, we're going to invite our special guest up, and you're going to hear a beautiful, gorgeous story from him and how this experience transformed his life as well. But before that, this next clip, I keep saying, I love this clip so much. It's my favorite clip. I think I'm just going to keep saying it's my favorite clip. The next clip that is my favorite is this next one. But you might have had the same thought as I did, honestly, in the beginning. How is it possible to create these magical moments in a virtual environment? If you've ever had this thought, put, yep, I've had it. Yep, I've had it in the chat box, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom. Here's the reason I say this. We had the same thought. Tony shares the story about when we went virtual. We used to be a 100% in-person events business. Tony was. And at one point he comes to us and he's like, we're going virtual. And some people were like, what? And he had this passion and this intensity, and it took him a while to get there. But once he got it, he reinvented the way transformation happens. And sometimes with live events, some people that have never been able to go to these events have been able to go. You got to get rental cars, additional days off for travel. You've got to, take all these days off, and then you got to get hotels. And there's so much to it. And Tony has found a way to make success convenient. And not only that, he has re-engineered, has become the leader in the virtual event space. So I could give you a ton of reasons right now on why I think personally virtual is amazing, but you're not really here to hear what I think. Why don't I let you hear why virtual is so great from the man himself, Tony Robbins, and also from somebody who has actually done it and says that virtual is better in their opinion than in person. I think this is great, thinking about working from home, all the ways that you're virtual now in life. This will be a really great clip for you. So sit up in your seats with lots of energy, grab a pen, take some notes, and enjoy.
Hi, my name is Verity. I live in Vancouver. I went to Date with Destiny virtually in 2020 and will be back again in 2021. Tony connected with me immediately over a computer in a way that I have never connected with anyone before. And right away, I felt comfortable. I felt at ease. I felt engaged. And absolutely blown away by our time together. And within like 60 seconds and 4 questions, Tony had taken like my life's work and weaved all of this information into this cohesive narrative that perfectly explained why I was at where I was at in my life. And that moment broke me the fuck down. I am who I am, and I'm imperfect, and I think that he wanted to be there for me and love me even more in this like profound moment. So it was beautiful, and our relationship has never been the same. We're fucking happy, like, and we still fight and we still all these crazy things, but like that opportunity gave us the chance to speak the same language and come from the same place and get to know each other in our truest terms. And it was beautiful. In that moment, I think we just made this like commitment to each other that it's more important to be happy than to be right. And oh my God, I would pay many times over the Date with Destiny fee just to like really believe that and to live it. And God, it's saved us so many disagreements and drama and tears. And like, even just thinking about it, I have like tears of grace right now. It was just really magical, and I'm very grateful.
This was the first time we did Date with Destiny where we did it in this format. And, you know, all the other events we've done so successfully, Business Mastery, Unleash the Power Within, I mean, like, unbelievable energy. We have people like police come to people's homes because they're making too much noise in their apartment building because they're having such a good time and things of that nature. You know, it's just a really amazing interactive. But, you know, Date with Destiny, I also do sometimes suicide work. Not sometimes, it happens. And it's like, how do you do that through this piece? But we were really pleased. And her husband, Joey, you know, he was being the man, and they had a big fight. So he was over on a boat, literally on his boat. So we got him on the boat on Zoom, and we did the intervention. He's on the boat, she's at home, I'm here, and it all came together in such a beautiful way. I understand you being a little skeptical. I was too initially, but I had to find a way to help people. And there are aspects of this virtual version that are better. It's certainly better for people in terms of being away from their family. We have a lot more moms that are participating now who couldn't have done so before. But also because you're in your home, there's a different experience. I don't know how to describe it. First of all, you're not fighting. You don't have to fly. You've saved tons of money flying in the hotels and all that stuff. But the level of connection you have with the people is extraordinary. You still have these relationships. We put you in teams and so forth that you build just like you're here live. But we're able to do it on your terms in a much easier way. And if your family's nearby, they're going to be walking through the room and experiencing it and seeing it, which is normally you have this experience and you call home at like 2 in the morning or 1 midnight. And go, oh, I just had the greatest experience of my life, and they have no idea. But what I love about it is I get to see your kids usually. I get to see your dog. I get to see your home. I learn about you, like seeing the U.S. Army there on the side there. There's some experiences that I don't get in a live person. And I also know everybody's name, which I don't do in a normal event either. So there's some cool pieces. I wouldn't put it off. Please don't. You'll kick yourself. The only thing people ever say to me about Date with Destiny is like, what's your complaint? Why didn't I do it sooner? And I'm not exaggerating, because it's such an immersion. And if there was any time to do it, it's freaking now, right? With the way the world is right now, with the world is now, and especially with what you just described you're going through.
So beautiful, you guys. I'm just watching your chat boxes as they're coming through, and Michelle Porter over here, hey Michelle, tuning in from Facebook, says she's been on a Tony Robbins self-development journey for a while, and virtual has helped her do so many in kind of a short amount of time. So she's had such a deep transformation. And me and the team were giggling. We were texting back and forth. Someone just said, I went to a Date with Destiny 20 years ago. What's changed? You have changed. Like, you're definitely not the same person you were 20 years ago. And when you're at a different level, it's your duty, it's your responsibility to keep upgrading and refining and looking at yourself and saying, okay, how do I get to the next level? You're a completely new version of yourself. So I love this video, really understanding what the benefit of virtual is. At the beginning, you saw that there was a relationship clip. That is Verity. You guys remember her from the documentary. And she started separate. Her partner was on a boat. She was at home. There was kind of all this tension. They were fighting. And Tony had such a beautiful transformation with them, a live share intervention about relationship. So on that note, I wanted to bring somebody up today, our entire team, a dear friend of Tony. They've been friends for over a decade. And this is somebody that's had such an incredible transformation with Date with Destiny that it took like a complete shift inside of his romantic relationship, intimate relationships, his life, I think how he views the world, in addition, how he leads his businesses. This is somebody that is a multiple New York Times bestselling author, entrepreneur, speaker, investor, somebody that has such an intense list of skill sets that it's actually like hard to rattle them all off. But at the core, this person is such an incredible human being. I've had the privilege of working with him, being mentored by him, coached by him, and his heart is the thing that you're going to fall in love with the most. But he has such a mind-blowing story about Date with Destiny that Tony and Sage have just fallen in love with. And we want you guys to have the experience to hear this as well. So would you please help me welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. Dean Graziosi.
Hey guys. Hey KK, great job today.
Hey Dean.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for that introduction. You know, as you guys might know, Tony is one of my dearest friends, partner, and just someone who transformed my life many years ago, heck, over 20 years ago. But I wanted to share something today when there were so many great questions that came in, and can we give it up for KK in the chat for coming on here today on her own time to try to answer these questions. There were so many great questions, and Tony doesn't want anybody to be left behind. If you're on the edge, if you're on the fence, he knows what you could do. He can do for you at Date with Destiny. So he wants to do everything in his power to get those questions answered. But I want to do something. I didn't want to just come here and talk about how great Date with Destiny is, and it is. But I wanted to share an experience I had, but I want to do it for you too. It's not just about, oh, look what I went through. But maybe there's something in this I believe we all have, because there's certain things in our lives that we think are our anchors, and all of a sudden it switches to the wind behind our sail. And I love when that happens. I love when you don't anticipate that happening. In fact, Date with Destiny is something really hard to explain. It really is. Like, you can't just say it's transformational, it's amazing. I'm going to give you a little story. I want to tell you, I am going to tell you about my relationship, but there's something that I think will even be more profound, I hope, for you guys. You see, Tony's a friend. I went to UPW several times. UPW was amazing. I probably went to 4 of them. And he kept saying, you got to go to Date with Destiny. It's only once a year. And I kept thinking, 6 days? Like, Tone, I have like 13 businesses. I have children. I have a life. How am I going to do 6 days? Finally, he got to me. I'm like, all right, I'll go. Not begrudgingly, because I know everything Tony does, he over-delivers. But I went. And here's what I want to tell you. Sometimes in life, whether you go to Date with Destiny, whether you already got a ticket, whether you're on the fence and you go, whether you can't afford it at all right now, and someday you go, this is all value. So hear this. I remember going, and here's what I know about an event, especially with Tony. What you think you need, why you think you're going there, is never usually what you leave with. Like, you go there with what you want to get, and you leave with what you need. So I got to tell you, and this might take me an extra 5 minutes, but I need to tell you both stories. My dad was the youngest of 12. He was physically abused and sexually abused as a kid. And he grew up in a generation, he's 85, he grew up in a generation where you didn't get therapy. You just manned it out. You toughed it out. And because my dad was so beat, like really bad, he had anger and just mad. And I get to understand that through the eyes of empathy and compassion. He married my mom. My mom was his first wife of 5. He never talked. He had 11 brothers and sisters. He fought with most all of them. He didn't talk to his father when he died. He got in a fight with his mom before she died. My dad doesn't keep friends. My sister, who's 4 years older than me, hasn't talked to my dad still. It's probably been 15 years. So I'm telling you this because my dad had a lot of anger as a kid. And at 10 years old or 11 years old, he was so angry with my mother for leaving him that it just caused nonstop stress in our family. Now, I'm not telling you this for me. This isn't about poor me. I promise you I'm sharing this for you because some of us need to let go of something. Some of us need to switch the anchor into wind behind your sail today, this very moment. If you came for no other reason, I want you to hear this part because this is one of the biggest shifts in my entire life. I went to Date with Destiny because I know Tony over-delivers. It's his favorite event. He goes all in for 6 days. I went, and day 1 was amazing, but day 2, something happened. You see, I forgave my dad most of the way. Did a lot of crazy stuff. When I was 12 years old, I moved in with him when I was 10. One day, he'd be super dad, take me fishing, teach me how to drive, do everything for me. And another day, he was the one that caused me so much stress that at 12 years old, I was throwing up blood from a bleeding ulcer because I was so scared. He was so confrontational. He had so much inner anger that he never worked with because his dad took advantage of him. He never hit me, but just the crazy chaos, right? So anyway, long story short, I learned how to read my dad. He's one of my favorite people on the planet now. He's actually living with me right now until we get him a new house. So all that's changed. But I want to tell you what happened at Date with Destiny that fundamentally shifted my life. And maybe it'll help you today. I hope. For being vulnerable here. This isn't a story I share publicly. So I go to Date with Destiny. A woman stands up, and if it's virtual, she's on the screen, and is doing an intervention. And Tony can tell she's got this anger for her dad. And maybe if some of you were there, if you ever saw this, and she stands up and she's like, she blames her dad. You know, when he never had any boys. He wanted a boy. She was the only girl. They couldn't have more kids. She swam, practiced every day. She went to the state final meet. She took 2nd place in the whole state. And when she looked up, father wasn't sitting in the stands anymore. He got in his car and drove home. She walked home because she got 2nd. And he said, that just describes my whole relationship with my dad. Never told me he loved me. Was mean to my mom. Never had money. Was always broke. So Tony said to her, let her talk. And she had this story. And Tony does what he does best. I'm not going to try to emulate Tony. I'm not going to try to compare. He lets her go through this whole story, and he does what he does best. This was probably over 2 hours. I was standing on my chair watching this. And again, I love virtual. I'd rather do it at home. I'd watch this. And all of a sudden, Tony said, so he never told you he loved you. You don't tell your kids you love them, do you? She goes, hell no. These are my kids right here. I tell them I love them every day. They're empowered, amazing children. They feel love. He's like, oh, okay. Then you don't have a good relationship. Your dad treated your mom bad. You probably do that with your husband. She goes, that's my husband right there. I'm madly in love. We have the greatest relationship in the world. Oh, then you're broke like your dad. No, I decided never to be broke. She goes through this, and Tony looks at her, and I watched 50 years of pain fall off her shoulders in a second. I could get emotional right now because it worked for me. Tony looked at her and said, if you're going to blame your dad for all the things he did wrong, then you better blame him for all the things that went right in your life. What if God designed that man to be your father so you could be the mother that you are, the leader that you are in business, the wife that you are, the human that's here? And in that moment was the first time she ever looked through that lens. And I have to tell you, in that moment, I forgave my dad completely. There was still 10% of me having resentment for the things that he did. It was gone forever. I got to tell you, how do you describe that's what you get at a Date with Destiny? It lifted 1,000 pounds off my shoulders. I never looked at my dad the same way. I didn't resent him the same way. I felt freer, alive. I felt like I had wind underneath my wings. And I realized it wasn't just about forgiving him. It was the complete opposite. What I realized is when I moved in with him when I was 10, and I would have to read my dad's emotions in advance. If my dad was going down this way, by the time I was 14, I could steer my dad back into a good place through love and compassion, and I wouldn't have to deal with my crazy father. That wasn't just something I dealt with. That's why I can walk on a stage of 20,000 people and I can read the audience and I can engage and be a part of 20,000 people in a moment because I can feel them, because I had to force myself to feel my dad's emotions to save me from the stress. So what in your life, maybe today this is the first time you can acknowledge something in your life that you thought was an anchor and it was actually a gift from God. That you can blame that situation for the reason you might be here today. The reason you're going to start your business or scale the business or fix the relationship or start the relationship. Those are the types of things when people say, what's Date with Destiny? How is it different than UPW? How do I explain that? How do I explain that that night I went to sleep and I was probably 45 years old at the time, and that was the first night I went to bed with complete forgiveness for my dad and got lighter, stronger, better, bigger. I don't know how to even explain it other than wow. And that was one moment. Now, I don't want to go down so many roads, but I also, 2 years later, I went back to Date with Destiny because KK said it best before, is we change. Date with Destiny, foundationally, Tony always adjusts it, but foundationally it's the same, but we change. And when I went back, I had been in a relationship, my previous wife, who I have my amazing children with, we both wanted to exit that relationship for a long time. Both of us had been through divorces with our parents. Both of us were scared we were going to mess up our kids. And all of a sudden, I'm back at Date with Destiny, and I'm thinking, we're just going to make this work. We're going to do whatever. We've been trying for 5 years, and we go through day 3 or day 4, and I'm halfway through, and I have the epiphany that Tony does not advocate divorce. He doesn't advocate to end a relationship. He gives you a day that climbs inside your soul. And I realized the end of day 3, why I say Date with Destiny, that's why I'm here today, why it's so significant with my dad. I also realized in Date with Destiny, I went home from the second one I ever went to, and I talked to my former wife, and I said, I think we need to end it. And she said, I know we do. We're just both scared. And because of that event, not only did we end it so elegantly, decide to be friends, to put our kids first, to create a child-centered divorce. My previous wife is doing the best she's ever done. I, after that, found love at a level I can't even explain. I fall more in love with my wife every single day. She's my best friend, my muse. I never would have had this love, this experience. It was 5 years. Tony used the word, how long have you been planning your escape and no one in the world knows it? I woke up for 5 years every day thinking, this isn't the right relationship for either one of us, but I'm too scared. And that moment, I could have never imagined that's what Date with Destiny was going to do for me. These are all true stories. Tony is my partner. He is my dear friend. But I want you to have the real truth behind this. It's not about being inspired. I love Tony, get you up and down and dancing, and you feel alive and you scream, yes, but it's way more than that. And sometimes we don't even know what we need until it's right in front of us. Sometimes we don't know until Tony confronts you, until he climbs inside your soul. And here's what I love. Even the last Date with Destiny that was virtual, he only does one a year. When he was doing his interventions, I was glued to the screen because my favorite part is because if someone's there experiencing it, most of us are experiencing our own version of it that we never told anybody, we're unsure of. And that man just knows how to climb into your soul and really adjust the knobs. And that's why I wanted to come on and share this with you today is stop suffering for something in the past that feels like an anchor. Find a way to use it as fuel. Tony says life happens for us, not to us. Man, it was never more evident. There was no more evidence in my life than being there at Date with Destiny. And same thing about relationships. So I don't know where you are in your life right now. If you're just already going to Date with Destiny, can't wait to see you there. If you're thinking about it, I'd urge you to really get your questions answered, especially the opportunity Tony created just for the people watching this. It goes away tomorrow night at midnight. I don't know if you know, tomorrow night the price goes up and all 3 bonuses go away. That's all tomorrow night. And I know you go to dwdvirtual.com. Write that down. And there's 2 things you can do when you go there. You can say, I'm all in, and reserve yourself a ticket. Or if you have questions, don't hesitate. Tony's team members are the best on the planet. You could schedule a time to talk to them. Ask the questions that KK might not finish answering today, or maybe I'm not answering, or you can talk to someone. There's no obligation to talk to someone, but there's a huge miss if you don't. And there's 3 other things I wanted to share. One, 6 days is a long time. But this doesn't cost you time. It gives you back time. I like to call it ROT. Tony gave me back time of not stressing and worrying about my father anymore. Tony gave me back time of not thinking I should leave my relationship every single day. Not that he's the complete opposite of wanting a relationship to end, but he talks about finality and doing the right thing. And I envisioned what my kids were seeing, where we were living in separate bedrooms for years. Like, that was what I was giving my kids, dude. I want my kids to grow up with that same thing. No, he gave me back the time of love. He gave me back the time of not having the burden of my dad, like so many things. You talk about investment, return on investment. My business is stronger. If you don't think a great relationship can help fuel the most successful business in the world, let me be a prime example. Follow me on Instagram and see. Since I've been in this relationship with my wife, we're 5 years in, I believe, right now. My life has gone to a whole nother level because I'm free. I'm not thinking about leaving a relationship or thinking about why it's not working or feeling I don't deserve love. I feel love, I'm in love, and I grow more every day. Talk about a return on investment and a return on life. I got my life back. I don't even know if I ever had life. Listen, has it all just been Tony Robbins? No. I work on personal development. I write books. I do this. I read books. I listen. But the immersive events is when it grabs you by the shoulders and says, stop looking other places. Stop being distracted. Stop your ADD. Stop listening to the wrong people. This is 6 days. This is about you. We're going deep inside. We're adjusting the knobs. We're going upstream so we can make a difference in your life. And if my little part here today was just saying, if you're thinking about it, go talk to someone. Make sure you don't miss out. If you absolutely can't afford it, do not feel bad. That would break Tony's heart. That's why Tony does more free events than he's ever done before. That's why he does starter events and UPW. Make sure to do something. Don't feel bad. But also, don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Truly, if you're thinking about it, don't just go, maybe next time. Maybe next time. He only does it once a year. And maybe this is the time you need something that you don't even know you need yet until you're at that event. So I guess that's my share today. One, remember life happens for us, not just to us. Remember that there is someone to blame, but they might be the reason you're here today, the reason you follow Tony Robbins. And remember, when it comes to relationships, talk about the wind behind your sail. I don't know anything more empowering. And if you decide to go to Date with Destiny, I want to do one more thing for you. Sometimes we need a little push. I have no problem pushing because I know what it did for me. So not only, I know you get a ticket cheaper than ever before, and I know that Tony created a 3-pay that they've never done. So you got the best price. I know you're getting Tony's relationship program, which is unbelievable. You're getting his beautiful state training. I think it's a different name, but that training's off the charts. You get, I think, 3 coaching sessions, which amazing. Again, all this goes away tomorrow night at midnight. But the last thing I want to do is, if you guys know anything about me or my books or what I do, I have my favorite mindset course. It's called the Accelerated Success Formula. I don't teach what Tony teaches. I teach my version of success. It's kind of a version of my book, Millionaire Success Habits, that sold almost 1 million copies. It's a brand new course. I love it. If you have it, you know what I mean. It's a course that's $297. If you guys get a ticket before tomorrow night at midnight, I will throw that bonus in as well. Just my way of saying, seriously, go do this if you're on the fence. If you're already in, I'll make sure you get the bonus as well. So if you got a ticket, don't sweat it. If you absolutely can't afford it and it's going to take money off the table, do not dare feel bad about yourself. That's why Tony does so much for the world, his podcast, free trainings. But if you're on the fence, this is the time. It's coming down to crunch time. Go talk to someone, schedule an appointment. DWDvirtual.com, if you could put that up. DWDvirtual.com. Make sure to write it down and get there before midnight. Guys, thank you so much. KK, I appreciate all you're doing for this incredible community. And thanks for letting me share, guys.
Dean, thank you so much. Before you leave, I was monitoring the chat boxes, and there were some questions coming in. I'm going to actually smush 2 questions into one. Can I ask you one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so somebody was asking about like the order and the sequence and like, do I have to do UPW first? I just met Tony from the documentary. I'll just go ahead and answer that one. You guys, once the documentary came out, like everybody's going to Date with Destiny first. Like there's no chronological order that you need. So you absolutely can experience that one. But Dean, as someone that attended UPW and attended Date with Destiny, what would you say are, like, for somebody that's done UPW and like wondering like, well, I did UPW already, like I pretty much did it. What would you say those core differences are from your experience, and how would you guide them?
Yeah, really great question. Listen, UPW is an amazing program. It's unbelievable. It's motivational. It's inspirational. It gives you tools and tactics. But picture that, like that's the sprint. Date with Destiny is this marathon that sticks with you for life. And I don't want to sound like I'm taking anything away from UPW. It is the most magical event in the world, but it's not Date with Destiny. Date with Destiny is about creating a new blueprint for your life. I mean, at the end of day 6, you leave with literally a blueprint. I have mine rolled up in the corner of my office right now. It is the blueprint for my life. I know what I stand for. I know what I want. I know that I was more involved in, I wanted significance more than service. I know that I was looking for, for love and contribution. I just didn't unmask it. Like I left with a blueprint of my new life. I mapped out my new relationship and I didn't even have it yet, right? When is the last time you took 6 days, if ever, to really map out who you want to become? Listen, we all know who we are if we want to look in the mirror. We can look in the mirror and say to ourselves, am I really the woman or the man that God designed me to be? Should I be doing more, be more, serve more? If the answer to that is yes, then this is the place you go to craft the blueprint for you 3.0.
I love that. Dean, I pulled my blueprint out. I had mine as well.
That's what mine looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Harlow, my dog, or you can see Harlow's foot right here. You guys, you see the corner of mine, but I saved it. I still have my blueprint too, and it really is a guiding principle. One more question I have for you is, for anybody here, there's a couple categories. Like maybe you are experiencing pain right now. Like maybe for you, it's your relationship or COVID or craziness in the last couple of years. But for somebody that potentially like feels like they watched that documentary and they're kind of on fire right now, like how will Date with Destiny just expand that or take them to the next level, potentially if they're not in a feeling like they need some type of transformation?
Well, here's what I think. When you watch I'm Not Your Guru, you get motivated, right? But it doesn't go deep enough to give you the context and the framework that actually makes the lifelong shifts. I mean, if we're being honest, let me see in the chat. Who in here has read a Tony book or watched a Tony video or went to a Tony event and felt amazing afterwards, but a month later, 6 weeks later, 12 weeks later, you're like, how do I get back to that feeling? How do I get back to being positive again, to not letting inner self-doubt rule me or not feeling like an imposter? And you're kind of looking for that, right? What Date with Destiny does, that all the inspiration is needed. Motivation is amazing. Date with Destiny goes deeper and gives you the blueprint. It gives you the context, the framework, so you can fall back on the framework, not just fall back on the emotion.
Sorry, I got distracted because someone posted a interesting comment that is also super funny. And you guys, sorry if this is kind of gross, but someone said UPW is like brushing your teeth, but Date with Destiny is like going to the dentist and like getting the plaque scraped off. Like you're getting like a full-on intensive treatment. And I actually think
that was actually good.
Like
that's good.
It's an amazing analogy. UPW kind of gets you going, and then it's the full throttle experience. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But Dean, is there anything else you want to say? We're so grateful for your time.
No, I hope today sparked something. Listen, I came on today to compel you to move. I did. That's my whole mission today, was to kind of share what Date with Destiny is so personal to me. I don't even know how to share. I can't say it is the 6-point framework. It's going to deliver to you what you need if you show up there. 2 things I needed. I needed to forgive my father. I needed to find real love in my life and set the relationship free for both of us. I was afraid to do both of those. It gave me the courage and the blueprint to stick with it. My previous wife and I are still dear friends. We still co-parent like the best on the planet. My older kids, my 12 and 14-year-old, are thriving. It's because of that blueprint and that framework. It's hard to explain that. I can't do it in a sales letter. I just know there's some of you thinking about it and saying, is it worth the time? Is it worth the money? And I just want to come on and give you an example of how it worked for me and what it could do for you, and to nudge you to say, hey, this goes away tomorrow. If you're going to do it, now's the time. And if you need to talk to somebody, go schedule. Go to dwdvirtual.com, schedule a time, see the bonuses, talk to someone, and get enrolled before it goes away tomorrow. And I'll add the Accelerated Success Formula as an ethical bribe to get you to say yes. KK, amazing job. And for everybody else, I'll see you at Date with Destiny.
Thank you, Dean Graziosi. Let's give it up for Dean, you guys, in the chat box, and his bonus that he added. We're so grateful for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dean. And for all of you guys, dwdvirtual.com. Don't go anywhere. If you are someone that loves all the nitty-gritty details, I am too. And I asked the team, I said, I need to know every detail for these people, because you might want to know, when is it? Where is it? What's included? What are all the details? What is every single piece of information? And I want you to have that. So I'm going to walk through it. Doesn't matter where you are. Maybe you're already in Date with Destiny. You should listen to this too, because you really get familiar with what you got. If you're somebody that's like, I really want to go, and I'm like right on that edge, then potentially I could support you here. So I want you to ask your questions, but also I want to share this information with you. So the dates are December 4th through the 9th. This happens one time a year. So if you have to go through a brief moment of feeling discomfort so that you can make this happen in 38 days, that would be a heck of a lot better than waiting 365 days, longer than that, to go to the next one. So December 4th through the 9th, block off your entire day. It's a 6-day and night full immersion event. You get more time with Tony at this event than any other event, period. And I want you to remember Tony Standard Time. It's going to go all day. It's going to go all night. Okay. And if you want to follow along with this information, dwdvirtual.com. If you guys are already all in, just go get your ticket and celebrate yourself in the chat box. Say, I'm going to Date with Destiny, so I can celebrate you. Or you can sign up to talk to somebody on our team. You'll have another person that loves you just as much as I do that can answer any single question. And you can always tag me in the Facebook group as well. And I'll try to come in and answer some today. The event is virtual. So for those of you that were in London, like, when's it coming to the UK? When's it coming over here? Virtual means you can do it wherever you want, in your kitchen, your home office, it doesn't matter. You are able to do it remote, and we bring the experience to you. Tony's created apps and this insane virtual studio so that you can literally feel the thunder of the event in your chest, thumping through your veins. It's one of the most surreal experiences you'll ever have, especially being able to do it with your kiddos, with your family. If you are a parent, or for me, I have niece and nephew that literally feel like kids to me, then you can do this with them around, and they love the joy and the fun of it, and they get to watch you transforming. It's one of the greatest things that you can do, is be an example for someone. So hook it up to your TV, blast it on a big screen with a lot of audio, and you'll make a fun experience out of it. I will also be doing some pre-training with you guys to help you get prepared. So if you're like, how do I do the virtual on my computer? You don't have to worry about that. We take care of all of that for you guys and answer those questions in a bit. Okay, so the offer, the celebration package includes way more than just Date with Destiny. So Date with Destiny is a 6-day night, full throttle. I say full throttle, and I really mean it. It's not just a frame of reference. You're going all in. It's a full experience. And you get way more than just that inside of this. So the first thing that you get is the full Date with Destiny experience, 6 days and nights. When you guys just go to get Date with Destiny, for context, if you want to do some math, that's over that's $7,995. That's like $8,000. If you're from where I am, we call it $8,000. Okay. It's going to rewire you in ways you never dreamed of. Just that experience alone, you guys should be doing. But because Tony loves to add value, you're going to get a whole bunch more with that. You're also going to get 3 fast-track training sessions with yours truly. Okay. We designed some information that you got to know so that you walk into Date with Destiny feeling like, I know I'm going to get the most out of this. And you can have certainty. You're not having butterflies, maybe excitement, but you're not nervous. We're going to set you up for massive success so that you leave with the same kind. You're like, what the heck is this? Okay. This is everything across 6 days in one place. It's a blueprint, and I have it in a couple forms, but that's one that I like to keep, on my wall. But that's the first thing you get. Then you get the fast track training sessions. Then you're going to have access to your private community of everybody that plays at a higher level with Tony. So any of our mastery programs, you're going to be with all of those thousands of people from around the world. And then you're going to get some bonuses. Here's where it's important to really, really listen. And you guys go to dwdvirtual.com to go read about the bonuses if you don't want to hear it from me. But I'm going to share them with you right now so you really know what you get. Not only do you get Date with Destiny, you also get, does anyone else talk with their hands? Okay, second thing that you get is access to Ultimate Advantage, or what Tony likes to call Beautiful State, which is really about, it's a 5-hour training about the single most important decision you have to make to live an extraordinary life. How do I know this? When I first started hosting for Tony, this is a couple of years ago. Some of you, I've been with you the whole time. It was the first video that I was instructed to watch. He was like, hey, you got to watch this. It's a training you must do. He has every single person that ever touches one of his 80 plus companies do this 5-hour training. He's going to give it to every single one of you guys. It's a $495 value. The relationship program, that's the second bonus you are going to get. Why would Tony give you a bonus about relationships? Who's experienced a little bit of tension in relationships over the last couple years? Or maybe you just want more love, more zest, more spunk, more passion. Or maybe you got a relationship and you want to end it. Maybe you want to have a relationship in general, but you've got to be present and meet your partner's needs. Tony told me one thing one time in a coaching session. He said, love wakes you up to the gift of life. And if you don't have that, you don't have anything. When the outside world gets crazy, that's usually when your relationships behind the front door of your own home start to fall apart. So it's designed that this relationship program is included as the bonus. And guess when you can start that bonus? Now, okay? If you're speaking Espanol, ahora, okay? Right now you can start that so you can prepare for the event. You got 38 days to watch that and prep for it, okay? Keep your passion, keep your chemistry, keep your polarity. That's $249 of value. And then the third bonus from Tony is 3 30-minute coaching sessions. That's $1,500 of value with the best coaches in the world. Okay. If you've never worked with a Tony Robbins results coach, these are people hand-plucked and selected by Tony. They go through thousands of hours of training, and you're going to get 3 one-on-one personalized sessions. So that means if you sign up and your spouse signs up, you guys get to commit to the life that you want, and then both get coached so that you maintain your momentum. It's one of the greatest things. And then now you also have the Accelerated Success Formula, which is actually a course that I purchased that I've done from Dean as well. It's incredible. It's $297 of value. And he gave you guys that bonus today. So that's going to be included. If you already signed up for Date with Destiny, you're going to get that. We'll add that to it. But some quick mathematics, including Dean's bonus. All of this together, the package is $10,536. Telling you from my heart to yours, I would pay triple that to have this experience. Like Dean says, it gives you your life. You don't even know. It's like living with knee pain for your whole life and not knowing what it's like to not have knee pain, and then feel that one day when you don't have knee pain, you're like, this is what life is like. That's what it is. So $10,500 for you guys say you're getting over 50% savings, $4,995. Okay. Over 50% savings, dwdvirtual.com. Someone says, this is my grandson's christening. It's virtual. You're going to be at that christening. You're going to have it up on your phone, and you're going to be there with your grandson and doing Date with Destiny virtual, because grandson is going to want to experience you at your most vibrant state so that they can learn from you. Definitely do not miss it. That's the benefit of virtual. Okay, you guys. In addition, to make this irresistible for you, and tomorrow it won't be here. The discounts won't be here, and this payment plan won't be here. If you need a payment plan to make it a little bit easier, you can do $1,832 down, 3 payments. That's it. Okay. 3 payments, a payment plan. We've never done that before. I have been dying to have 3 pay as an option for the people that I work with that I know want to come. So dwdvirtual.com, you guys, if you are ready to buy, scroll to the bottom of that page, and there's a button that is going to be very self-explanatory. It's probably going to say buy. Click it and get yourself in. There's another button that says talk to somebody on our team with questions. Here's what I have to say about that. I have met so many people that just don't speak up, myself included. Even times in my life right now where I really want to say something and I type up the message and then I delete it. And I don't ask. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't ask this question, or I shouldn't really get clear on that, or I should know that answer, or I can figure it out on my own. Has anyone ever done that here? I did it literally just yesterday, and I had to coach myself out of it, or 2 days ago or something. You've got to get the answers that you need, because no one else is going to advocate for your life besides you. I promise you that. No one's going to knock on your door and say, did you ask that question you needed to ask so that you could get clarity and potentially have that amazing experience? No one's going to come save you. You've got to get clarity. And you guys, questions is not a credit card. You've got to ask questions so that you can get clarity, and potentially you buy, potentially you don't, but at least you know in your heart that you asked the questions you needed to ask. There's a difference between frequently asked questions and should ask questions. What questions should you ask? I'll answer some today before we wrap up, but I just wanted to say that. So if you have a question right now, get inside the chat box and put Q for KK or Q for Tony Robbins team, whatever you want. I can answer some of them live today, but drop them in there or go to the website right now and click talk to a team, and you guys can book an appointment to chat with somebody and have somebody dedicated to your best interest and really understanding what you need and helping you find a solution. Our team is standing by to help you guys. So dwdvirtual.com, and then open that up and scroll to the bottom. Okay. So as we wrap up here today, I'm just going to go over a few questions that have come in, and the team has been collecting all the Q for KKs, and I'm going to answer them right now. I pride myself on, I might talk fast. I got that feedback from somebody today that English is not their first language, and I was talking kind of fast. So I'm going to talk a little bit slower, but I pride myself on really trying to answer your questions so that you guys have clarity. I've been, working with Tony in this capacity for my 3-year anniversary was October 22nd. And I've studied every single tiny detail of what you need to know about these experiences. So right now, I'm going to answer a ton of questions. If you're someone that loves the details, I'm going to do that right now. So let's dive into it. So first up, some people really want to know, like 6 days and nights, what the heck is happening? So I have been to this event. I said before, I walked in with blonde hair, walked out with red hair. It changed me in ways that it's hard to put into words because it happens inside your body, and you leave and you feel life in a different capacity. But as far as some of the things you're going to be doing, you're going to be spending a lot of time with Tony Robbins, number one, but he's going to take you through a journey. You're going to become aware of old conditioning and patterns that you've practiced so much that you've memorized, and it's become who you are. Okay, when you do something, you have the same thought over and over again, the same belief, or perhaps a relationship like Dean had with his father, where the relationship started to have a trend of how he would interact and how they would interact and the feelings it created. Okay, those are called patterns. And so that's conditioning. When you practice thinking that way over and over and over and over again, it becomes who you are. Okay, think about your kid that practiced not liking a certain kind of food, and you know that they don't really not like it, but they say it all the time. Has anyone ever had this happen? And they practice that so much that they think they don't like that food, or they think they don't like dancing, or potentially a partner of yours, or a friend or a cousin. These are conditioning that we have. We memorize them. So on even day one, you're going to start to become aware and replace those things from your nervous system, not up here in the mind, inside the body. You're going to then rewire the driving force behind every single decision that you make. The truth is, whatever you're experiencing in life is because of the decisions you're making every single day. If that makes sense, be like, got it, inside the chat box. You're going to figure out, what's the question? What do you ask yourself in the back of your mind that creates the reality that you have? This is a formula that Tony's been working on creating, you guys, over the last 44 years, and you're going to learn that immediately on day 2. Day 3, you're going to start to uncover what's really motivating and driving you. Like Dean said, at one point, it wasn't really service that was driving him. It was significance. It was feeling important. And once he made that small shift, like, life opened up. He found the woman of his dreams. His career exploded. When you find out your core values, your rules for living your life, you're going to reorganize what's important, and you're really going to be congruent. Next, you're going to create something called your life blueprint. Every single day, or I should do it this way, is a stacking effect. So day 1 is going to lead to day 2, and then you're going to have day 1 and day 2, and then that's going to lead to day 3. And then by the time you get to day 4, all that stuff you've done on day 1, day 2, day 3 is going to become this blueprint for your life. So I want you to imagine waking up every day, looking in the mirror and being like, damn, I love you. You are so clear on what you want. You know exactly what it is that you're going for, and you feel the lightness of that. It's like that lead backpack is off. Once you have that, you then come back for a day completely dedicated to relationships. People experience such deep transformation in an exciting way at this event that they go back home and they're like, who are you, to their partner, right? Their partner's like, what happened? Who are you? And then there can be an integration process. So Tony decided to have a day of relationships, And why it's so great in virtual is that your hubby, your partner, your spouse can actually join you and experiencing that day together. You're going to learn how to create, restore if you need to, but most importantly, keep your passion, your chemistry, that polarity, that charge where you want to just grab your person and be like, babe, I love you, that excitement. How do you keep that ignited? And then most importantly, you guys, above all, everything, you're going to integrate this. You're going to embody this so it becomes a part of you physically, mentally, and emotionally. You're going to be creating your destiny and experiencing it in real time, living with clarity, where everything that you think and that you say is congruent with what you want. And then you're going to drive those new behaviors, thoughts, feelings into your nervous system so it changes the old conditioning and life will never be the same again. Did someone record that? That was a damn good explanation. Okay. That's all 6 days. If you're kind of like, I don't know what it means, I need you to have a trust fall moment where you just trust me and get your booty there. Okay. dwdvirtual.com. If you signed up for Date with Destiny already, yes, you get the bonuses. You can reach out to our customer service team and they will get those set up for you guys. So TonyRobbins.com/contact-us. Type that up. TonyRobbins.com/contact-us. You can reach out to our team and they'll get you guys the bonuses. If you're already enrolled in Mastery University, heck yes, congratulations. Reach out to your rep or customer service. Let them know that you want these bonuses. You'll get all the bonuses plus Dean's. If you guys signed up for Date with Destiny already this past weekend and you want Dean's bonus, you're going to get that as well. We'll email that out to you guys. Somebody asked a question about like how long the event is. We've talked about this a million times, but I just want to stress one more time. It's Tony Standard Time. So it's kind of like he's going to go until you have the transformation, which is why you have a 100% results guarantee. So if it didn't work for you, then you turn in your workbook and you get every single penny back. Tony's the only person I know of that really, truly, genuinely has that at live events. And what's great about it is because he believes in the transformation so much that you don't have to believe in it. You just have to go to it. And then you'll believe in it. But he believes in it so much that you can guarantee whatever you spend is going to be guaranteed. If you don't feel it, turn your stuff in at the end of, I think it's day 1 or 2 or something, and you get all your money back. Okay? Is this the best offer that you can get on this event? I got this question a ton, especially if you're somebody that I work with frequently, either in these groups or in our women's group. If you are somebody that has been asking that question, I've saw that a ton coming through. This is the best offer we have ever had, period. Hands down. Except for the first person that ever did Date with Destiny in Fiji. I think it was like one of Tony's friends that he did it for you guys. For like, he created it in Fiji and did it for just that one person. This is the best offer that has ever existed, period. We've never had a payment plan, and that's going to go away. So if you guys try to come back after the offer closes tomorrow, the price is going to be gone. The payment plan is going to be gone. The bonuses are going to be gone. And then you're going to reach out and be like, oh my God, I missed it. And KK, your friend over here, your teammate, is going to be like, I can't do anything about it. Okay. Trust me when I say it's the most affordable payment plan we have ever had. It's incredible, incredible, incredible value. So dwdvirtual.com. Can multiple people attend on one ticket? You feel some of you are saying, can I get my whole family and buy one ticket? Listen, the event was designed for one person. Okay, one ticket is one person. When you buy a ticket, we are going to send you a box of event materials. We're not going to send you 5 boxes if you buy one ticket. However, we don't want price to be an obstacle for you. So if you have to get creative and you're like, well, I could afford it if I was splitting it in 2 and you and your significant other were doing it together. I'm not saying that potentially you could do that, but maybe I would just go forward and make that happen so that you have the experience to attend the event. If you're reading between the lines, put got it. Okay? Read between those lines. Somebody just asked a really incredible question. They said, what if I don't have a relationship? I went to Date with Destiny, didn't have a relationship, and what I got out of it was creating the relationship that I want to call in. You will never experience love and passion in your life if you don't think there's anyone out there for you or you aren't worthy of love. Additionally, you are going to bring somebody in that is at the level that you believe in yourself. So if you want to call in a better relationship and create an incredible relationship, you've got to become the relationship that you desire. And that's what you guys do and design at Date with Destiny. Okay. I think that's it. My friends, I love you so much. Don't miss out on this. I am telling you, like, you've got to find some way to push yourself over the edge. dwdvirtual.com. Go buy your ticket or ask someone asked a question, but I don't understand it. So retype it up. Go buy the ticket or ask to talk to our team and get your questions answered. I can't wait to see you guys there. I will be there. I'll be playing full out. My dog will be there, who's still right here sleeping. And I just love you guys so big. If you have attended an event with an iota of my guidance before, if I've inspired you to go to a UPW event or anything, trust me when I say it would encourage you to go if I didn't believe in my soul that it was really going to create a deep transformation for you. There is no one better on the planet to do this than Tony, period. And the time is now. Okay. So make it happen. Does it help with other relationships? Alma said, yes. Oh my God, yes. Okay. You are going to be a different version of you, therefore interact with your children different, your spouses, your intimate relationships, your relationships with friends, everywhere. Who you are to the world changes. And you just got to trust that. So at this point, you need to trust yourself. I've given you guys, how long have we been on here? 7 hours. Okay. I need to stop talking. I've answered so many questions. At this point, you got to trust yourself. You don't need to ask for permission. You don't need to investigate any further. You don't need to get stuck in this head of yours. Go for it. dwdvirtual.com. I love you guys so much. Congratulations on attending Date with Destiny. You've got a date. Put it in your calendar. December 4th. We will be there together. I love you guys. Bye.
Every time I need a rescue, hanging on the verge of breakdown. Even though I try to replace you, but loneliness makes me break down. Every time I need a rescue, hanging on the verge of breakdown. Waiting for a touch, you say no days. Nothing could really take your place.